Good evening again for another episode of the Mayor's Brief. And as I always say, when I'm sitting in this seat, I'm not the mayor, but I'm sitting in for the mayor today, and so glad to have Councilman Tom Harris here with me today in order to have this discussion about our agendas on this episode of the Mayor's Brief. So glad to have you, Councilman Harris.
Well, thank you, Mayor Pro-tem Walker. It's great to be here. And first of all, I hope you and your family had a great Thanksgiving. And as we enter the holiday season, just wish you and everyone the best Christmas.
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate it. Same to you and your family.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that you had safe travels back from your journey over to from the Holy Land. And
well, our trip to Israel, Jordan, and Egypt was a wonderful trip.
Yes, sir.
Very mind-opening. And now when I read things in the Bible, I got a 3D picture of the spot,
yes, sir.
Of the land.
That's it. That's
yes,
it.
Sir.
Well, that's great news. This is our first Mayor's Brief together.
Look forward to it.
So it's exciting. We'll jump right in. We're going to start on the same route that we took with our meeting on the 28th. 4 p.m. we started with a regular scheduled council meeting, and then we moved after that into a committee of the whole meeting to discuss a couple topics. But we had, our normal routine of our agenda. Looking at our prayer and our opening and roll call. Then we moved into the consent agenda. And our consent agenda, was there anything in particular that just stood out to you? Anything you wanted to discuss with the public?
Well, with my financial background, I thought it would be good that one of the items, which I was glad to see on the agenda, was the approval of the financing of about $5.1 million in equipment.
Yep.
A lot of this is needed, as we all know, and just a couple of big tickets things. 3 side loaders were $1.1 million. A new transformer that's going to be installed at the substation out on the Old Mill Road, $2 million. So the city is doing things to continue to make sure that we are providing the services that we want our constituents to have. And I was great to see all of this equipment being financed and being utilized.
That's it. And we've got it at a great rate for 59 months, 3.77%. Moving forward, we had a couple of different purchases where we purchased some super cab, different type of fleet sales that we had on the agenda. I don't know if you wanted to discuss those or if you had any comments about any of that.
Again, it's good to see these bids coming in. That means that we're in the process of getting much needed equipment. A lot of it is to replace old equipment. But again, our employees need to have the assets available so they can perform all services in the manner that we want them to be provided and our citizens expect.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree. Item number 9 on our agenda was a public hearing in consideration of the 2021 annual action plan on the home American Rescue Plan, which is a grant program that we have here in the city. And so Ms. Cornelia McGee, who's the director of that Department of Community Development, she came and she provided a presentation because I believe there was one individual that came for public hearing maybe after her presentation, but her presentation was not scheduled for the item. But it turned out to be a good idea that she did indeed present and provided some information and some input around the American Rescue Plan, this home, our grant. So that was important that she provided that. Did you have any comments?
Yes. First of all, Ms. McGee and her staff did a wonderful job, incredible job of putting all of this information together.
Yeah.
It's a very detailed report. And we want to emphasize that this is some money that came out of Washington through a passage of the ARP bill. And we have about $1.4 million plus or minus, of which 1.2 we hope to be used for the construction of rental homes. The other 200 and some thousand will be used for administrative costs, et cetera. That's going to be required to put that project together.
Yeah.
As I stated in the meeting, I hope we can try to get as many units built with the $1.2 million as possible. They're hoping 4 to 5, but I'm just hoping we can find ways to see if we can increase the number of housing units because we really need that here in the city of Rocky Mount. So, and hopefully working with private developers with their contributions and this contributions, who knows?
Yeah.
Hopefully we can double or triple the number of rental units. I think right now they want to put this for rental because there's a lot of need for rental affordable units.
Definitely. And, you hear a lot of developers, they talk about funding gaps, for affordable units and affordable housing and how they need that funding gap in order to make some of these affordable housing unit projects to be successful. Because in order for the numbers to make sense, they need that incentive. And so hopefully this grant will be able to, we can use creative ways. I know Ms. McGee and her staff, they'll figure out creative ways to try to make sure we maximize the dollars on our ending result and our output of project. And so I'm excited to know that the funds are available. And, creativity, and innovation will help us figure out how to really stretch that money and to get a bang for our buck.
If I recall, there's a timeline of 2030.
Yeah.
But let's don't wait all that long.
Sir.
Let's try to do something as soon as possible, but we got to do it in the right way. And we need to make sure that we dot the I's and cross the T's and do things that the people here in the city of Rocky Mount will be proud.
That's it. Yep. Yeah, like you said, I agree. I don't think we'll wait to 2030. We really can't afford to wait to 2030 because housing is such a huge need here in the city. Affordable housing, all type of housing. We need more houses as we continue to grow, as we continue to develop. We're going to need more housing. So developers all across the country, or if you're here locally, wherever you are, if you're listening, we need you here in the city of Rocky Mount. We need your housing development so that we can have more housing and increase our housing stock here in the city.
We want to grow this city, and one of the ways to do it is to have a viable business community and a viable neighborhoods so that we can work together to make this city even better than what it is today.
Most definitely. Since we're on growth, for the next 5 to 10 years, just numerically, how many people do you think we can anticipate moving to Rocky Mount over the next 5 to 10 years? If you just had to pick a number out of there, what do you think we would be looking at?
We had a downward trend in the last couple of census. So let's say we're now bottom and we're gonna turn the curve back up.
That's it.
But it would be great that we could get back to the 60,000 population plateau.
Yeah. That sounds good. Yeah, 60,000, 70,000 for me. I just believe that's a great number for the size of the area we have. And I think if we can find a way to get back to that, I think also a lot of our decrease came to people not really filling out the census data. I know a lot of people just did not fill out the data, for whatever reasons, but I'm sure there are many reasons why our numbers were downwardly trending, but I think we're on the right trajectory to get those numbers back up.
We as a city council, we as a community, we all need to partner together to make it happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree with you 100%. Item 10, consideration of First Amendment of Neighborhood Restoration and Preservation Incentive Grant agreement with Truth Tabernacle Ministries for rehabilitation of a single-family residential home at 719 Arlington Street. And that additional funding was in the amount of $46,000 due to the rise in construction costs and materials because of inflation. And we had also item number 11, which is another one, but we'll do them one at a time.
Okay.
But yeah, what were your thoughts about this for Truth Tabernacles, this agreement we have here with them for the $46,000? Because there were some comments made in the public sector around item 10 and item 11.
Yes, and I was the one that really made them. But first of all, Reverend Park is someone I've known for quite a while. Matter of fact, he lives in my backyard, one house over.
Wow.
So we're neighbors.
Yeah.
Last year, he was recognized by the Tar River United Way or United Way Tar River Ridge as the leader of community service last year.
Yeah.
As a public citizen, speaking before the council over the last couple of years, and now as a member of the city council, I have said that the city needs to provide written copies of policies and procedures.
Mhm.
I want to go on record. In no way am I against these organizations getting funds.
Yeah.
No way. But I feel like as we move forward and we got money approved that you approved, because I didn't join the council
Yeah, that's it.
till July. So y'all approved in the new budget starting July 1,
Yeah,
monies in this program for this coming year.
that's it.
I'm asking that we need to work together so that we can have written policies and procedures.
Yeah.
You know, the members of the council are not going to be there forever.
Mhm.
We need to have written policies and procedures so that we can carry forward different things. You know, just about all departments have written policies and procedures.
Yeah.
I said it in the past as member of the council. If there's any other department that's spending money and that department has no policy or procedures in place written,
Yeah.
then I want to know about it. I think you will want to know about it.
Yeah.
So I just want to go on record that I support all of these organizations. And I also want to say that in no way have I indicated, implied, inferred that the money going through these needed organizations have been misused in any way. I have not said any of that.
Mhm.
All of my comments are centered around written policies and procedures. And I have been informed that there are no written policies.
Yeah.
So let's move forward. Let's get some policies so that we can do good things and more organizations can be made aware of this special housing program, and we can enlarge the number of people receiving such grants.
Definitely. And just to provide some background, this House Council Initiative grant, it's really what it stems from, dates back to 2007,
Mhm.
2008. And I'm actually on the subcommittee of this grant program. And, once I joined in 2019, there were no form of direction from anyone to say that these meetings had to be public, that they needed to be no type of documentation of the actual meetings. And so we're just finding out this year that we now have to actually make sure that we put out public announcement about the meetings. And that was unheard of in 19 and certainly in
Right,
'07 and
sure.
'08. So I think we're moving in the right direction. The policy and procedures of the program, staff has the policy and procedures, but what we've been asking for is that those policies and procedures are placed online so the individuals could be able to see and the public could be able to follow and everybody's singing from the same sheet of
Mhm.
music, because if it's made public, if it's online, everyone can be able to see it. Everyone can identify what's needed for the programming. And then it helps people as they are awarded these funds to
Mhm.
make sure that they have the things in place, because what I'm finding is there's so much that goes into the process of these grants
Oh,
that
yeah.
it takes people a year, 2 years
Mhm.
just to receive their first allocation of funding because there's so much to do in the process. So there is a process, there is a policy in place. I think we just need to make it public.
Well, I would like to see, and I've been
Yeah.
asking for a copy of that
Yeah.
written policy, but we can't do anything about the past.
Yeah.
Let's work together so that we can really, really do better things going forward.
Definitely, definitely.
And
And I,
that's policies and procedures, just like other departments come to the council informing us that they're updating policies. Police chief several months ago came about the new policy he has put in place for uh, policemen hired after hours on
Mhm.
other employment. So
Yeah.
let's let's put together something so we all know how we can work together and make this even a better program.
Definitely. And I believe there are innovative ways and more creative ways we could utilize to even make it a more robust program. But to your point, once we're all moving towards the same direction, I think we'll see even greater things come from the program. A lot of the results and things from the program are really mind blowing as you see some of the development that takes place from the funding. But yeah, to your point, we had another one on item 11, consideration of housing incentive grant program agreement with East End Baptist Church. It's 100,000 for acquisition and housing and rehab, 1012 East Highland Avenue. And again, same thing, item 10, another project looking to help to develop. This is for acquisition and rehab.
Right.
And so I believe there was some more comments around this item as well.
Well,
But it's-
I just asked the question of the city manager when we are buying property,
Mhm.
excuse me, when we are financing the purchase of property, because we're not buying it,
Yeah,
the church is. We need to make sure that any accumulated past due taxes or fines, whatever, the city is paid for any amount past due. So that's all. That should be done, and Manager Varney said it will be. So that's fine. That was my only question,
yeah.
because that house has been in that state of affairs for
Quite
a good
while
little
now.
while.
Yeah, yeah. And again, staff has the policy, and this is another reason why I believe we should all be able to see staff's policy, or at least have it. I don't personally need to, know about everything, but have it public so that people can know what takes place. Because some people may not know that the taxes have to be paid. But once you get to staff, you'll see you're not able to have any allocation of this funding until past due taxes are paid on the
Mhm.
properties. And so that's a part of some of staff's vetting process and policies and procedures that they do have in place that I think, like, as to your point, you just aren't privy to that,
Right.
to that. You haven't seen
Well,
it.
if
So,
we're gonna make it public to everyone, we as the council members need to have
yeah,
such copies as well.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
I just wanted to go on record, Mayor Pro Tem. I retired after 45 years of banking. And my last years of employment, I was audited by 5 separate entities.
Mm,
The internal auditors of First Citizens Bank, the outside auditors, just like the city has an outside audit firm. There's another outside firm that conducts a Sarbanes-Oxley audit. Then it got the state banking examiners, and we had the federal banking
yeah,
examiners. And all of that centers around having good policies and procedures and making sure that the staff is working and following those policies and procedures. That's why I feel like it's important to have written policies and procedures, so that way we all can be consistent in how we do things.
definitely, definitely. No, I agree with you. I just believe that as far as the staff, they have those things in place, and as you said, if that is something that a council member wants to see, we should be privy to that knowledge. The same way the public should be privy to it, because it is indeed in place, and I don't know why it's been such a hassle to try to get the information. Staff has the policies, they have procedures, and I mean it's as simple as just presenting that to council. Hopefully it'll happen. I know Manager Barney has a lot on his plate, and he's doing
Oh,
a
yes,
lot
he does.
in the short time that he's been here. And maybe it's just been, oversight of just, not really a priority, for him. But
Right.
whatever the case may
Mhm.
be, I don't think it's a hard task to get that information to anyone that needs it. But for us, and for me, from my standpoint, I like to know those things are in place. I don't necessarily care to dive through it too much because I feel like we have to entrust our manager, our staff, in order to handle those policies and procedures. But to your point, we do need them in place so that we have something that is sustainable for the future, and we have something that is guiding us for the present.
And if we ever have questions, we can go back and look. You
That's
know?
it. That's it. That's it. That can be our guiding tool, to help
That's
us
exactly right.
provide direction. So I think we'll have that pretty soon. I know I've been pushing to get it public online. So hopefully that will happen sooner than later. But nonetheless, the conversation's being had. It's just a matter now of implementing it over to when it gets done. So I think I know we'll see it before the next allocation comes out next year.
Well, we need to put a plan in place on how the funds that the city has budgeted,
Mhm.
how that is going to be distributed based upon the worthiness of the applications.
Yes, sir. For our appointments, item 12, I think there was one appointment made, but there's still a lot of vacancies. And so for those of you that are looking to serve in the city on in some type of capacity, that is not an elected position, but an appointed position, we have a plethora of opportunities for you to serve on many different boards. And so make sure that you engage with that process.
I'm working with two individuals. One, Ward 6 does have an opening on the tree advisory report. And I hope to get that completed application before the next meeting. And also have one who's interested in joining the Central City Revitalization Panel. We got some 5 open appointments, whatever. So I'm trying to work on this.
Yeah.
I just got to get the reports back.
Hey,
But
look,
Thanksgiving, people are out of town, et cetera. I'll get with them next week or end of this week and try to see if we can get those in.
and you're still fairly new to council, so that's going to take some time. I've been 3 years and I still don't have all of my positions filled, so it takes some time. Man. It
And
takes some
takes
time.
willingness of people who want to serve.
That's it. That's it. That's it. So it's a both and hopefully, if any of you out there, if you're listening, hopefully you can try to fulfill some of these positions. You can find them on the city's website, and you can go to council and mayor's tab to find all of the positions that are available. After our council meeting, which that would conclude our council meeting, we had a committee of the whole meeting following, and we only pushed the agenda to 2 items. I removed 2 of the items for the sake of time because our first meeting was kind of lengthy. And the first item was our audit review for fiscal year 2022. And from that audit report from Martin Starnes and Ken Hunter, we found that we were in a great financial state. We found that things are financially in a great place here in the city, and that for a city of our size, we are in good shape. And so that was good to know and good to hear from that audit review.
Oh, by all means. For a number of years, I managed the public lending for First Citizens Bank. Public lending to cities, counties, municipalities. And the city of Rocky Mount enjoyed a very good rating from the Carolinas Municipal Advisory Council.
Mm.
And they have a strong rating. That CMAC does not exist anymore because of some changes in laws. But we've always had a good balance sheet, et cetera.
Mhm.
We just got to make sure that we can continue to have that strong balance sheet so we can fund the growth that's, if we're going to grow to 60,000 or 65 or 70,000, we got to make sure that we have the resources and the wherewithal to manage that growth.
That's it.
But the report was good. The audit was good. Hopefully there be some things that we can look at, maybe getting some more information quicker than at the end of the year. And Mr. Hunter addressed some of that during the presentation. So it was good report, great report.
Yeah, great report. And it was very grateful to know that we still have that internal audit happening each year. Secondly was the purchase gas adjustment that we'll see. We'll see a 40-cent increase in our gas rate, which will be up to 8.8%. We've got 60 days to respond to that to the LGC.
Bless you.
Thank you. And so we'll be working on that over the next 60 days to try to get that response to the LGC and to make that implementation.
Well, unfortunately, we all know what the price of gas has done over the last year or so. And, the city has done an incredible job over the years of trying to manage that and trying to keep spiking rates as little as possible. And we have a good team in place.
Yeah.
And yes, a 40 cents per therm increase till May, but we're trying to hedge so that we don't go from here all the way up to here in 1 month.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can't manage it to keep the big drops and dips and increases, et cetera, from happening.
That's it.
And I think that's the right approach. And we commend the people in our resources department for the way they manage the utilities.
They're doing a great job. We've got great staff here in the city of Rocky Mount, great leadership, and excited to have you, Councilman Harris. That's our time today for the mayor's brief, but so excited to have you, and I hope to be able to do this soon again.
I look forward, Mayor Pro-tem. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you for serving.